T down here. Okay, back in with another live stream, and well, I can see my eyes. Well, no, went away again. I hate that, but the way the lights are in here, I don't have any. And the sun's in my face now. The sun's right shining in the window, but that makes it's going right through the glasses instead of getting that reflection, depending on where my head is. But anyway, yeah, I see that all the time, and it looks terrible. But I don't have a good way to fix it. Don't have any studio lights, or really, I mean, if I did, it would take so much time to set it all up. I've got enough time in set up videos and all that stuff. So I guess I won't look pretty. So excuse me, or sound pretty. Let me check my stream. Okay, yeah, sound is working. It's a yellow stream. So a while ago, I made a couple others doing some setup, and they were green pretty much the whole time, I think. That used to do that for the last whole year. It was almost always green, and now it's almost always yellow at the beginning, and then it'll get green. Sometimes it goes red. And I've got, I don't know, I keep saying this. It bugs the heck out of me because that was when I had 60 megabit internet connection. Well, actually, I think we were getting about 100 megabits because they went up to 100. But I was subscribed to 60. And then they decided to go up to 200 megabits download. And we had 5 up, and now we got 200 down and 10 up. And the tests come up good. I don't think it's my ISP. I think it's YouTube. So I don't know what the heck's going on with YouTube live streaming. That used to work and doesn't now. Maybe more. Well, I don't as much. You know, servers as they have all over the world. I don't see why they would have a problem. No matter, you know, even if it suddenly doubled. You know, how many people were doing it. But day or night, sometimes I'm up in the night, sometimes I'm up in the day. Doesn't matter, you know. Like right now, it's 10:26 in the morning, and lately I've been doing it in the middle of the night. Actually, this morning I got about 2, so just started streaming about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. Doing short little test videos, trying to get my audio delay set to where. Closer at least to where, you know, I can't get my mouth to match what I'm saying, but at least to where I'm not, and I decided to stop where I'm at because when I get on the desktop it's perfect, and I don't want to mess it. I do more desktop than anything, so I don't want to mess that up. So speaking of, over here, this is the little papers that came with my Seagate 8 terabyte Seagate expansion drive. And I haven't showed it much, maybe at the very beginning when I first bought it, but there's a picture of that little proprietary connector. You can see it's got 2 instead of 1, you know, like it's not a micro or a mini USB. It is a completely different animal. And it's 2 separate. It makes it look like they're using more wires, but I don't know if they are. But anyway, you can see... to get something to point with. You can see right there that's one, and there's another one, and it's bigger. And of course it's a regular barrel connector for the power, and which is fine with me. I kind of prefer those. The reason I prefer those really most of all is it's not that I really, you know, dislike the micro or mini USB connectors. It's because the USB wiring is what they use typically, most of the time, from what I've read and seen in videos too, but mostly I read about that actually. The wiring is so small that it can barely carry, you know, like an amp of current over 3 feet. It can't really do it. I had to buy a 1.5 amp power supply for my Raspberry Pi because it needed just a little more than the cable it could carry, the USB cable, and it uses my mini USB. Maybe it's a micro, I don't know, I forget now. But anyway, the typical cable that they use for, you know, a regular wall wart and a barrel connector is a little bigger, just enough to handle the job. You know, it has been free, and you can do 2 or 3 amps on some devices. You know, and of course, hopefully the manufacturer uses a little bit bigger cable so that it works. But I mean, you can't just say that's a rule of thumb because all the manufacturers are different. And of course, when you buy new cables, like I did recently. There's the wall wart up there, and so anyway, that's what I've been talking about. And and it'll do. Of course, this is data and power. Well, no, the power is coming from the barrel connector. The data is the only thing going over the, and it does do USB 2.0 and 3. And I guess I haven't even tried it on one. I don't know if it's backwards compatible. It may not be. I don't know what would happen if you plug. It may just not. The device may not be seen, you know. But there's a bunch of more fine small print in there, but I don't think there's anything. That's what it is. The Seagate expansion. That's what they call it. And I've showed all the details of when I got it and where I got it on. And I got it on Amazon. During the Black Friday weekend, it was marked down to $129. I'd been watching it for 2 years actually, since I bought the 5 terabyte a couple of years ago, because it was 100. I kept saying I bought 100, paid 129 for it, but I saw recently it was 109. I got it for, so that's why I decided to go ahead but now it's already half full, so I decided to get another one while they were on sale. So I'm gonna. Sorry, the heater is just killing me. I got my window open, the heater keeps coming on. I'm the only one that's hot, I guess. I don't bother it because I freeze everybody else out. It's 79.5 degrees in my room with the window open. I got it open it's kind of windy, so I didn't want to open it too much. I got it open. I don't know how much I have it open now. I can't see it, but I guess it's getting hotter because the sun's shining right on this other window, the one behind my monitor. But anyway, see my backup video. Okay, now I'm going to get over here on my. Already got remote desktop hooked up to my Fedora 14 system. Now yesterday, this is errors, what it is that I got when I plugged it in. And I thought this is where I'm going to start my video. Now yesterday, I reformatted the new 8 terabyte drive. It's 7.28 terabytes or something, what you really get, which is another whole thing I could rant and rave about. But everybody does that, and of course the manufacturers just do what they want to. 2x4s aren't 2x4. They're, anyway, I won't go on. I used to be a cabinet maker, so I was pretty dealt with the lying sizes on the wood a lot. So many industries do that sort of thing. So this message came up when I plugged in the 8 terabyte. I'll just call it that because that's easy to remember. 8 terabyte drive. When I plugged it in, it said error mount wrong FS type, bad option, bad super block on dev SDE1, missing code page or helper program or other error. In some cases, useful info is found in syslog. Try dmessage tail or so. Oh, I get it now. Dmessage tail or dmessage so. So I copied that a while ago, but and I actually saved all that to a text file so I could. Now what I'm going to check this out while I'm thinking about it, but I'm hoping that I'll just reboot and it'll be fine, because sometimes whenever, actually what happened, one of the main reasons I bought this drive, I want one of those so bad, except for I can't fly I don't know how to fly, but I wish I could. If I could afford one of those, that's what I'd want. If I could afford, that's a car plane. That is a real car plane, in case you don't know what that is. You fold those wings, fold up, and you can just drive it away. You drive it to your house. But anyway, there actually came out 2 or 3 years ago. Terra Fuga, that's what it's called. But no, I've only flown once in my life on a commercial airline, and that wasn't really fun. But I've always loved flying, and I used to work in General Dynamics, which is an aircraft manufacturer. And when I was working there back in the 80s, up until 92, they were building F-16s, and so I got to sit in the cockpit of F-16, but it didn't have a chair in it. It didn't have a canopy or anything. I was working. Yes, I was too working. I was making sure a template, seeing why a template wouldn't fit where it was supposed to. So anyway, Gosh, I'm myself go crazy here. Okay, so our message, I'm going to go ahead and run that command and go back over here again so we can see our tariff view. That'll change it in a minute. Oh, we won't be able to see it now. Okay, well, what I was going to say is, whenever I, earlier today before I started making videos, I hadn't noticed, but evidently my 5 terabyte drive never mounted when I booted up my Lenovo i5, the one I'm streaming from. And it's supposed to, it's supposed to just mount up. It's always plugged in, and whenever I turn on the machine, so you can leave them plugged in, and then when you boot up your machine, they will turn on automatically. I guess that maybe there is some more wires going through that cable to make all that work. But like a signal wire or something, now that I think about it. Because I think I looked at the pins when I first got it, but I don't remember what I saw. But there may be 2 extra pins or something. But anyway, in that connector. And assuming that's in standard USB plugs on your computers, that could be done. I can't even remember now. But it hadn't mounted up, and so I went ahead and unplugged the cable and plugged it back in. I was checking the cable. I told you over and over in the videos how it's gotten loose. The one that is too short. That what I was showing in that diagram. That one is too short. It's only like a 1/4 inch long. I forgot to mention that a while ago. And I'll show you what I'm talking about since I'm telling stories here. Find that again. It's kind of on the inside of this pamphlet that you get. Okay, this part right here, it actually makes it look pretty long in that picture, but that is about a 1/4 inch, the metal I'm talking about, the actual connector. And like I said before, I've been careful with it. I don't move it around a lot or yank on it or do anything, but it has just loosened up to the point that you can just wiggle it in there. And if you just sneeze at the thing, it will come. It usually doesn't. I've only seen it come all the way out once or twice, but usually it'll just loosen up enough to not make a connection. And so I'm sure that's what happened. At least I hope so, because otherwise it's even worse problems. And so anyway, I went ahead and unplugged it. This time I unplugged it right there and then plugged it back in. Usually I do it at the computer, but since I was checking that spot, it's going to be the same result either way. I was checking it and to make sure if it was plugged in all the way, and I thought, well, I'm going to unplug it and plug it back in, so then maybe the drive will mount back up and everything will be fine. But what I got was an error, not the same error I was just showing, but an error saying it couldn't mount the drive. And so I could show that error, I guess. Go in my screenshots and it's I keep talking about this. Okay, so this is going to be some screenshot. There it is right there. Unable to mount the Seagate expansion drive, not authorized to perform this operation. Now that's odd. I think there's a different one I've been getting, and then PoleKit authority not available, and caller is not UID-O, user ID. So actually, I think what it's saying is you need to be a user to mount the drive. So, but now that doesn't always happen. If you plug that drive or any of these USB drives in while the machine's running in normal conditions, it would just mount right up. At least I'm pretty sure these do. I know USB sticks do and everything. So I knew that this had happened before several times recently, and I was afraid there could be something else wrong, because when I went up there and felt of the cable, it didn't move any. What I do is I just grab the drive and hold it still and then push, like pushing the cable in, and it didn't move. Sometimes it does, and that's how I know, okay, it was loose. Well, it didn't today, and so what I did was just take it out and put it back in, and it's hard to get back in there. That thing is hard to line up. But I had to get a magnifying. Of course, I don't see that well, but I had to get my magnifying glass to look and look. So anyway, I rebooted the machine. Everything was fine. But I have had times when the NTFS file system, see there it is on the desktop mounted as after I rebooted, the NTFS file system will get damaged, and especially if that cable comes loose while it's being writing or something, or if you have a power loss or something. And I had to fix that about 4 times since I've had it in the last 2 years. And you're always afraid that I have seen NTFS file systems get broke beyond me being able to fix them. And I've fixed file systems a lot, especially NTFS, because it just works a lot easily. And but there's a program called TestDisk that runs in Linux that you can bring back lost partitions and stuff. And that if it's not, like, first run check disk and stuff on it. If that doesn't fix it, then go to TestDisk. But you definitely don't want to lose all your backups. So that's why I went ahead and bought the 8 terabyte. And I decided to not start, so once you start with a file system, you're committed to it unless you got a place to copy everything to, And so I decided to start with a Linux. Well, I did some research, my last couple of videos on this subject, and I decided to go with Ext4. Well, when I'm back to what I'm talking about here, I plugged it in to my Fedora 14 system so that I could back the Fedora 14 system up first, because it's got the oldest. I had 3 or 4 backups in here, backup drives. And I was going to show them, but no point in that. And so I was going to go ahead and back it up first. Or at least look at see how much it's going to fill up this. This is an 8 terabyte, so I could have done it on the 5, but I thought, well, I'll start out with not all that much space, so I'm going to check it out and see how much it's really going to take. But I think I'm going to go ahead and back this up first. But one of 2 things: either I just need to reboot and it'll be fine, or Fedora 14. This was before Ext4 came out. So it could just be that it doesn't recognize the Ext4 and doesn't know what to do with it. If that's the case, I will probably change and not use Ext4. I hate to use I could use Ext3. I know that for sure, because that's what these other backup drives are in here. Because it's older and doesn't have the features of Ext4. That was Ext1 to I remember what I started with was Ext2 and then 3 and then 4. I don't know about, maybe they had Ext and then Ext1. I don't know. I don't ever see any references to anything like that. So anyway, I'm going to run this command to see what it might say about what happened. Okay. Denied. Okay, it looks like it's access denied, so it may be the same thing. Just that I don't know why it would do that, but it looks like an access denied. Let's see. Okay, let's paste and put so in there, I guess. Oh, that's not what they meant. They could have meant, when they said, at first when I read that, I said dmessage tail or so. I thought they might have meant like or some other related commands. Let's see, found in syslog. Try. The way they wrote that out is hard. That dash makes it look like part of a command. I thought I was fixing to copy and paste all that and run it, Anyway, dmessage tail. Well, that tells me enough. I mean, I could try one more time, like, oops, paste. Yeah, no, I don't know what they mean. Maybe that they did mean or so on, So that's not much for me to understand there, other than I see that it said AVC. AVC is actually, that's an SE Linux, so SE Linux must have stopped it. That's what I'm thinking. So what I'm going to do then is close everything in this machine and reboot it, and I'll go on the camera so that we can just watch it reboot on the video, because whenever I can reboot it from right here, or I can just say reboot, restart, and of course I'll lose my remote desktop connection. But actually that wasn't necessarily the best way to do it, because I still have to switch over to it so that I can log in and all that stuff. Doesn't matter, but I was thinking, I forgot that I can't just, it does not, what I've been doing lately is turning off the remote desktop app. Oh yeah, I have to switch my, what I've been doing is turning off the Vino remote desktop server and just turning it on when I need it, because I've realized that it was using a lot of resources and making the fans run on the thing, making it work hard. And it was really showing up in the system monitor too much. It was abnormal. So I don't know why it's doing it and how long it's been doing it. I haven't, normally I don't have this thing on. Change to the terminal. I guess I better get a cough drop. Normally I don't have it on, but I've had it on ever since I ran out of machines to use for my backup server while I'm, I need to be back to setting up my server and getting it out in the garage. That's another reason why it's hotter in here, for sure. I got an extra machine running. But it really makes, from what I've seen since, I put my IBM out in the garage last summer and had it up there until a month or two ago. And it looked like it made about a degree and a half different, warmer in here. Okay. I'll check and see if Vino's up and running. Oh, and see if it mounts the drive. I guess boy, you think you're not smacking, but you really are. Sorry about that. But I have to have the cough drop. If I move the mic, I'll start talking without the mic. And if I go to the lapel, it'll be even worse. So let's see if this drive mounts. That's the main thing. If it doesn't, then that throws me back to the drawing board on the format that I use for the backup drive. And NTFS, I had the 5 terabyte plugged in here yesterday. NTFS mounts up just fine, but of course that's an older file system, so I don't see it. So I mean, you might have to, and Fedora 14 might not be as automatic at mounting drives. I might have to go into ETCFS tab and set it up to mount it on, on boot, or give it the permission. That's where you set up mounting things, drives and stuff. I don't see it. I see all the other drives. See, here's my. Well, let me get the remote desktop up and go and make sure it's. I think if you leave it on, I think it stays on. We'll see. Yeah, it's ready for me to connect to it. So what I'll do is go connect to it. Get back on my machine. I guess I should have. It's getting hotter in here. I should have got up and opened the window some more. Okay. Well, I saw the Seagate icon. I thought, oh, it did it. No, that's the other machine. That's that's the one I'm streaming from. Okay, let's see if we can get back on the remote desktop to the Fedora 14 system. That didn't occur to me that I might have this problem. Another user is controlling your computer. Yes, I know, it's me. Oh, Tracker Store. That's the desktop search app. It will just wear this thing out. So I always pause it. And I tried leaving it running when I first turned it on, to be a server. And I thought, well, if I let it get finished, then it'll be all scanned, for all the files. So you can use the search well. And then it shouldn't do it again. Unless you had files, but it did, and it well, actually, it might not have been as much trouble as I thought. It turned out it was Vino, the remote desktop server, that was causing the trouble. Well, there it is, right there. See, I'm using it, but but it'll go up a whole lot sometimes in the CPU usage. Now it went on down to not even showing, and then it goes up to 2 or 3. It actually kept doing it when I wasn't connected to it. Now it's 8%. See, so since I've got the thing running all the time, I've just been turning that off. But of course, I'm using it right now. But okay, yeah, the 90 gigabyte file system, I've got backup files on there. That's a backup drive. That's a backup drive. It's on the left of the screen that I'm showing here. So that's a backup partition on that's 824 gigabytes of backup on a 1 terabyte drive. This Fedora 14 operating system is on that drive too at the beginning of it. So I've got 4 hard drives in there. And like that 90 gigabyte, that actually I had installed. I had made my own remix of OpenSUSE on their website with their builder, and I'd put it on there, and then decided I didn't really care to use it, but I didn't want to take it off at the time, and so I just started backing up to it. Well, now I've got to copy this stuff somewhere, so if I want to use it for anything else, you know. And these other drives, I don't. That's for well. One drive has to stay. Well, I would leave the 1 terabyte drive in here because I like this Fedora. I don't want to lose this Fedora 14 system. But the rest of it, if I could copy all this stuff to my new backup drive, then I could use those hard drives in other machines, you know, for boot drives and stuff. Because those are both 293. Those are 320 gigabyte drives. That's what they are. And I guess that's all you get out of a 320 gigabyte drive. It's 294 gigabytes. I named them as to what size they showed up in the system and not what they were labeled. And that I actually made it 824 gigabytes because the rest of it's used up for Fedora 14. Yeah, my desktop background's changed on this one all the time. I like that, but I think I quit doing it on my newer ones because it's an old program, the one I'm using, and it where is it? You don't install it, you just run it. But it's no, that's not it. Pretty sure I have an icon up there for it. Maybe I didn't have one in this machine. Anyway, oh, there it is. Wallpapers is using up too much memory and stuff, too much resources, and it may be on, well, I don't think it's bad on, it was written around this time, I think. Yeah, it's a Python program, so it just shows up as Python. But it is using 10.2 megabytes. That's not bad. I think it was acting squirrely in the newer versions of Fedora, so I quit using it. Okay, so either that or I just didn't get around to it. I can't remember. I know there was some problems, but whether or not they got, perhaps it got updated. Sometimes the project will go kind of dormant, and the developer, you know, is one person working on it by themselves, and they won't work on it for a year or two, and then they'll start working on it again. So sometimes they go dormant. And then come back. Of course, the difference between dormant and is dead is whether or not they ever come back. But anyway, I like it. But anyway, I miss using it. But trying to get back to what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so well, let's go into the disk management and let's see. I think I'll try GParted because yeah, because it's my favorite. I'm much more comfortable using it than the Gnome disk. This is actually not the one I'm booted to, but that's the one that ended up being SDA. And I don't remember remember what's on there, but it's got an operating system on it and some backup. That's why it's 293 gigabytes. I think all of them do. Then SDB is just, that's my Fedora 14, Ext4 and LVM. So that's a 320 gigabyte hard drive. That's my Fedora 14 then. Must be. Or unless it's, no, that might be OpenSUSE. FDC. Yeah, that's the one I thought I had Fedora 14. Yeah, Ext4. No, that's the one with OpenSUSE on the beginning of it, that 1 terabyte drive. I didn't remember this at all, did I? And then, see, my backup portion is Ext3. Yeah, Fedora 14 should see an Ext4. There it is. And that I have all my music backed up on that 90 gigabyte part in its music folder, you know. So yeah, it was using the Ext4 in Fedora 14. I just used the Ext3 maybe because of this problem I have, though, and maybe I didn't figure out a way around it, so I went ahead and used the Ext3. We'll see. And then, yeah, and back, this older version of GParted didn't know what to do with LVM2, so it has a flag in it. So you don't, if you need a newer version of Fedora. Well, see, logical volume management is not supported, but it is in the newer versions. Now, SDE, there it is. Ext4, so it sees it, the system sees it. Well, I knew that because it was saying it couldn't mount it. And what actual size shows up is 7.28 terabytes, not 8 gigabytes. That's a lot of difference. 3/4 of their claimed, that's 3/4 of a terabyte. That's ridiculous to call it 8 when it's 7.28. Okay, let's see. It says unmount, like it's mounted. Okay. So maybe it just didn't show up on the desktop, or I just didn't see it. Everything seems fine in here. So I'm going to close GParted to make sure I don't foul anything up. Sometimes with these different colored backgrounds, there's something on there and it doesn't show up to me, to my eyes. I don't see it, but the quick way to find out is to go to, I wanted to check and see the state of everything first. Quick way to find out is just try to go through it in Krusader, my favorite file manager. And so, yeah, I may not have, hopefully I don't have a problem. We'll see. Now, this is a dual core machine, 1.8 gigahertz only with 3 gig of RAM, I think. So you can see that that's not just a remote desktop. It's kind of slow. Some reason over the years, Krusader got slower and slower on this machine. That's really slow right now. But see, I can switch and it's not that slow. See, Krusader's just, look at there, using up 32% of the CPU getting opened up. Now it's finally done. So let's see what we got. There it is. Okay. Oh, an error occurred. Driver missing. Error mounting point. Wrong file system type. Bad option. Bad super block on dev FDE1. Now I had that. I didn't write a file to it, but I looked at it on my Lenovo i5, after I formatted it yesterday. Missing code pager, Helka program. That may be why all my backup drives are Ext3 on this system. But that tells me that I won't be able to use it as a USB drive and plug it into whatever machine I want, because this is an important machine to me to keep, even though it's old. It's got about 3,700 programs on it, and a whole bunch of them are not available anymore in the Fedora repos in the newer versions. So I don't want to lose. I'm going to copy that error and put it in my file that I made earlier. That's not encouraging me at all. I'm afraid that I may not be able to do what I wanted. Where is it? There it is. this one does the same thing as the newer version. It doesn't. I thought I had this one set to make. Maybe I just could see better back in the day, and I didn't think I needed 14. I went from 12 to 14 font in a few years here. So this is a little bit longer, more explained out error. Driver missing. Mounting point. It says wrong file system type. Bad option. Bad super block. And bad super block usually means there's errors on the drive on dev SDE1. I'm going to plug it back into my Lenovo i5 and see if it's giving trouble on there too. Maybe I actually had a problem with my formatting. And then it gives the same little, suggestion of a command to run. So I'm going ahead and go ahead and do a screenshot of that. See if it does it again. Yep, same exact thing. That came up several times. Okay. Thought I'd get into the screenshots folder in case I want to go back and look at them. Yeah, see the difference between this downloads folder. And I've been cleaning. Well, I've been cleaning this new one out. I started doing that because, see, I used to didn't delete everything except for when it would get really old. I wanted to have the main, original copy and a backup copy. But then when I started running out of space on drives, I started, and I got the 5 terabyte drive, I just started backing up to it, but not keeping double copies. And that's actually dangerous for losing files. So, I'll leave the system monitor running. That's actually, even though sometimes it uses a little bit of resources, you can use it to stop an unruly program from locking up your system. That's why I always try to keep it running. So, well, it's not mounted. I forgot to go into. Well, it's not going to be. I'm going to go into fstab file to show what I was talking about, but also to look. I could look at some logs maybe to get a little more information. Well, before I go into all that, I'm just going to unplug it, plug it into the other machine, because if it jacks up on the Lenovo i5, I may have to go back to the drawing board on the formatting of the thing. Maybe I thought it was fine, but I didn't. For all I know, I was tired and I quit, and so I didn't plug it back. I didn't reset the drive. Is what if I remember right, I just shut down and quit for the evening. So, there's my fstab file. I'm going to hit View because you can't edit it unless you're root. But this is how Linux. This is a config file for mounting drives in Linux, and this is from Fedora 14 here. It's, but it's still going to be pretty close to the same, I think, in the newer versions. But all these drives that I had, well, if you install an operating system, if I put a blank drive in there or whatever, it doesn't matter if it's blank or not, but so I have Fedora 14 on here, and then I put another drive in the system and I install OpenSUSE on it, it will automatically set all that stuff. It'll see the Fedora 14 and put it in its fstab file. But Fedora 14 won't have OpenSUSE in it, so you had to go and manually put all this stuff in. trying to remember. I haven't been fooling around with the extra. I can't put another drive in the low Wi-Fi, so I haven't done that. And it's the only one that's got these newer Fedoras on it. So I'm not sure if there's any automation in there now or not. There is with Grub 2. It's a lot more automated than Grub 1 was. You used to have to edit Grub 1 to, add the other operating systems in there. And now it's used, most of the time it's automatic in Grub 2. So anyway, you have to go you go to, when you add one div, disk by label, you can choose different ways to do it. Like these have these long numbers, UIDs and stuff, dev mapper. UID, it tells the name of it and then it says UID so-and-so, so-and-so. These are all the ones that were done automatic when the operating system were installed. The swap one's not getting mounted. It doesn't need to be mounted. Not where you can get to it. You don't want to be getting to it from your operating system. Oh, actually, that's an old swap. Okay, I'm all wrong. That's an old one that's not being used anymore. This is one that is, and it is getting mounted. It's commented out, so I said that, but this other one's not. But then when you get on down here, you got TempFS, and these are all automatic things that was when you installed. But then disk by label is the ones I did. The 824 gigabyte backup, the Ext4, so you had to learn all the what you should and shouldn't put in there. Sync, auto, all that stuff. Some of this has to do with telling it to check. Let's see which ones do. Check the drive for errors when you're booting up, and you can change all that in here, I believe, if I remember right. Or is that where you do it? Can't remember now. But anyway, and then there's where I mounted the 90 gigabyte partition of OpenSUSE so that I could use it as a backup drive. And then I wrote a note to myself in here, may have fixed this. Some kind of error I had and something I fixed. It's mount. It says busy. Ext4. Mount says does not exist. I left those in there because I had trouble and was trying to fix things. Now here's another one, dev Fedora. 249 gigabyte backup. I was going to say, is that it? But no, 249. This says Ext4, and it seems to be working. It says Ext4. So now I'm kind of wondering why I can't mount it. Unless it, well, I think maybe it's really an SC Linux thing and not a, user permission thing. Because it did say, it looked like an SC Linux error to me. Let's see, where was I? I was going to go back to the screenshots. Now I can't find them. I should have just did that. Pictures. I never did go back to desktop this whole time. I can't believe it. I was afraid. I had a premonition that I was going to do that, and I said, okay, make sure you don't do that. But I did it anyway. Sorry. All this time I thought I was showing you a nice desktop video, and I was showing you a camera. At least it was a camera of the screen and not a camera of me. All this time I thought I was showing you. Dang, that aggravates me when I do that. All this time. It's been for a while. Ever since I rebooted the Fedora 14 system, I've been doing that. Dang it. Okay, well, hopefully you got some idea of what I was talking about there. Okay. Oh, now I see why it didn't do what I was already in the screenshots on this side. I was wanting somewhere else on this side. Okay. Which normally what I just do is go to downloads. Usually those are my most frequently, whatever's my most frequently used folders, which download is the most frequently used. Okay. Close that shutter. It uses too many resources, but it's my favorite screenshot app. I don't use it. Well, actually, whatever's the default in Fedora 28, I've been using because it doesn't use up a bunch of resources. The Genome screenshot does, and so does Shutter. But yeah, it's not mounted. It won't mount. Oh, let me look. Oh, it is mounted. Let me look in the Disk app and see if it's got any more information that would be a little easier to. Sometimes there's things in this app that's actually, there it is, actually easier to decipher. But partition type unknown. I wonder if but then down here it says Ext4 version 1.0. Why does it say partition type unknown up there? I wonder if something really did go wrong with my formatting again. I don't know what it would be. Oh, now, let's see. Mount the volume. Error mounting volume. Bad option, bad super block. Okay, it's the whole thing again. Exact same error message. Okay. So there's something wrong either with it, or there may not be something wrong with it. Let's put it in the Lenovo i5. If it doesn't mount in there, then I'm going to say there's something wrong with it. Okay. I might be looking for a different file. I can always go Ext3. I'm pretty sure about that, but like I said, that's not really what I want to do. It's older and it just wasn't as, I don't know that I don't really remember having, I had a little trouble here and there. I do remember having maybe a little trouble here and there with the, Ext2 and 3, and only once do I remember having trouble with Ext4. The one thing I do remember is when the drive was getting old, they didn't deal with that as well. About not would we try to use those bad sectors, and I don't know if it was the file system or the repair program, the fix disk program, that wasn't dealing with it well. But with Ext4, I've had only, like I said recently, the only trouble I ever had was my IBM server, when the power went out over and over one night, it broke the Ext4 inside of the LVM2, though. It's how that's set up. I didn't realize that. I found that out later. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get on the, I won't get on the camera again so that I don't want to screw up again like I did a while ago. Let's see. Let's go ahead and disconnect the remote desktop so that I won't. Okay, now what you will see is my Lenovo i5's I guess I will go ahead and just get to the wireless mic so that I can talk to you while I'm doing all this. Oops, wrong way to do that. I have to do that with the keyboard shortcut, or it will not do it globally. Okay. Now, we're on the wireless mic. Yeah, because the mic would have been in the way anyway of me. Now, see, I got to get behind the, I'm scared to switch to the camera to the thing. But yeah, if I stay on the desktop, then I can just, you'll see it when it, that's what I mostly want to show, is it mounting up. Okay, so I'm going to not switch to the camera since I just, not just because I messed up a while ago, but because I want to make sure I show the mounting. Oh, and I'm going to have to plug it in the back, but I can reach through here and plug it in the back. Okay, it's plugged in. It's kind of tricky to get to it, but I hear it kind of making noise, so Usually it makes a little rattling noises right before it mounts up, like it's being read. There it is. Okay, so it's not a problem on the drive. It also not only mounted it up, but it automatically opened the default file browser. Of course, it's empty, nothing written on it. And if I go to use my default file browser, File Manager, I'll go ahead and write a file to it. So just go that way. Now, go to, I went to, normally, you know, I go to, how are we going to tell them apart? Okay, 7.3 terabyte, 4.5 terabyte. Okay, so the only folder in there is lost and found, but you can't go in there. You can't go in there. You just get an error. But now see, it shows up as a bunch of long numbers. Oh, But when you, it doesn't show up as Seagate expansion drive like the 5 terabyte does. So I guess when I reformatted it, that was the what it was given by GParted or from its hardware. But see, it says 8 terabyte volume. I didn't put that in there. That came from the hardware. The Seagate expansion drive. Well, no, what's funny is when I was in GParted, it showed it just like that Seagate expansion drive. Unless it does that because this one was already plugged in and booted up, you know, I mean, mounted. But anyway, let's get in it and trying to think what can I copy over there that won't be super huge. I guess I just wanted an example. Well, I guess just a couple of screenshots or something will be fine. Let's open it with GWinView, even though it uses more resources. It does more than those other viewers. But I don't want to just copy anything over there. I want to copy something that actually makes some kind of sense to me. See, it takes this long. I'm trying to get it to go to the next picture, but it's not responding. And if I quit doing that, it'll help. But see, oh, that's OBS. GWinView was using 9% of CPU, total CPU. That's total CPU, all 4 cores too. If I understand that right, I'm pretty sure that's. Now see, now it doesn't want to go back there. It does more than just use up CPU. It just, some things don't show that they're causing trouble, like by the memory and the CPU. That was it was moving. That video, it was a video, and I started taking screenshots because I thought it was cool. It was an interesting video to me. I don't know how I got that far. Yeah, okay, that was the other day. They grew these onions, and now that's great. Got those things up in front of my screenshot. They grew onions, and that's their records. But they didn't dig, and they planted a bunch of potatoes, and they just threw hay out on the ground and then left it there for a while, and then they put the potatoes buds in there and grew them. I've never grown potatoes. Well, maybe I did grow a couple. The only time in my life I had a little garden and I planted some onions and pumpkins and different things, watermelons, and here at my mom's house when I was a teenager. But it was real small, and I put it right up next to the house because it was easy to get to it, and plus that was where the flower bed, you know, was supposed to be, right? But the thing is, that's the south side of the house, and it burned everything up. And the other reason I did it, now this was a potato that actually grew like that. And that's a video I was watching. I always do that to tell me where, if I don't want to finish it right now, I'll do that. So I thought that was cute. That video, that's not fake, I don't believe. I think that potato really grew like that. And anyway. So that's good. I just I'm going to copy that to the Seagate drive. It's just an 8 terabyte volume. I actually like that label way better than just Seagate expansion drive. Access denied. Oh. I hadn't thought about that. so that's probably why Fedora 14 couldn't write to it. See, I thought about writing a file. You just should always do that. You know, write some kind of file. Let's see if we can do it in Krusader. Doesn't matter what file. I was just getting ridiculous about all that. Okay, see if it says access denied. Okay. So I can't write to it as Dawn. And so as, you know, Dawn, even though it's still Dawn, but it's of course a different machine, but I couldn't, that machine couldn't even mount it, much less write to it. So this machine can mount it because it's the one I formatted it on. Let's see. Oops, can't type. I'm opening Krusader in root mode. Now that's something that I didn't, should have dawned on me, but it didn't. Dawned, haha, get it? Okay, so what did it do now? Oh, it went ahead and opened in the same folder, but they're organized differently. Okay, now. It works as root. So let's see what we copied. May open it up in same program again. Well, it was the last access denied. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to leave it on there for right now. So see, I'm in Krusader root mode with root privileges, and so I can do that now. Now, though, I'm going to try something that normally doesn't work, but I'm going to try it anyway. This is the easiest way to change permissions. Here you go. We can see them at least. Owner can view and modify. Group can only view content, and then others can only view content. So I'm going to try and say everybody can do everything. And the user, I don't know about that. I mean, every machine I plug it into is not going to be user root or Dawn. I mean, well, all the Linux machines would have a user root. But, okay, only owner. I'm going to try and say apply to all folders. Of course, that lost and found is there's only one folder in there. And that one, I'm trying to do it to the whole drive. Actually, yeah, lost and found is good to leave it like that. That's fine. Okay, now I don't think it's going to work, though. And it's just hardly any folders, so you really can't tell. Now let's see if the permissions got changed. Well, let's go see if we can get to it. Yeah, now I can get in there. Okay, it worked. So I went in here as regular user mode. So let's go over here as super user again. Properties, permissions. Yeah, it's stuck. Okay, now now can I mount this drive in? Well, let's see if I can copy another file. Out of there, blah, blah. Okay, copy the second one over there. Okay, it worked. Okay, well that's good. I thought I was going to go round and around because normally, like say if I went to this drive and tried to do that to it, I'm almost certain I wouldn't be able to do that globally like that. At least I never have been able to with regular hard drives that are in my system. But see, it says that everything can be now. Here's the thing. This Seagate expansion drive is stock, the 5 terabyte one. And it's got a lot of stuff on it, so it takes a minute to open up. But even though it's NTFS, and I have always had fights between NTFS and Linux file systems, you know, wanting to control the permissions. But this drive, it had no problems. It was global, read, and writable by default, and which was the only way it's going to make a good backup drive, right? And it's always worked with no problems. And the only thing is, if you wanted to retain your Linux file permissions, you won't, because what you're going to have is globally read and writable files. But that's fine for a backup drive. If you were trying to have an actual mirror of your system, that wouldn't be fine. But I'm just backing up files. That's what my aim is. So now maybe this will. I got to open that again just to see. Okay, so that. Let's see if both files can be. Yeah. It can be read. So I'm just going to leave those 2 files on there, and I'm going to go ahead and close the Krusader root mode. Actually, I guess I'll close them both. Well, let's get out of there altogether. because otherwise it's going to try, when you open Krusader up again, it's going to try to go back there and it won't even be there. Sometimes that really hangs it up. So now let me get back. Okay, I'm going to risk it back on the camera. Last time I was scared and I didn't want to show what I was doing. Let's see, what am I am not on the SM58. Okay, I had it up in front of me like I thought I was on it. Well, I'm so used to that, doesn't hurt, but let's see. Yeah, I'm got sound and everything. Okay, so I'm not going to zoom out, but you'll see my big fat head and all that. Oh, first, sit back down and unmount that drive like a good boy. Okay, right click, safely remove drive. Now I can take it out without damaging anything on the drive, damaging any files or anything. I'm trying to make sure I get the right cable here. And I've already got it pre-set up so that I can get over there. Trying to make sure when I plug it in there it doesn't get hung up on my mic. It's really in a place where it could. Cable doesn't want to, it's kind of got a natural or pre-bend from when it was new, you know, wrapped up in its little box case that it came in. It's meant the wrong way to go where I want it to go. I'm doing all this by feel, so, oh, here we go. I think I'm finding well, there's two open USB connectors back there, but the ones that I've been using are on the outer edge, so I'm having to go on the inside and find it by feel. A little harder, but I can do it. Okay, so okay, I'm not on the right machine. I don't have my remote desktop up and running, so I won't know. Well, we'll find it when we get over there. AVC, yeah, that AVC, I always thought AVCs were SE Linux, you know, denials, but I'd have to look at it again and see what AVC stands for. It may not be just SE Linux, it may just be permissions altogether. Well, SE Linux would still squawk if you try. It was trying to mount something that didn't have permissions. So let's go to desktop, and I guess I'll stay on this wireless mic for now. Oh. Well, no, let's don't. Okay, now, since I tend to, when I'm doing desktop videos especially, I tend to believe that I'm on the SM58. I was sitting there talking to it and being careful to be near it, and I wasn't even on it. Okay. Once it gets in there, we will see if we got our same error again. That's what we'll see. Okay. Okay. It's got the same error, but I've been putting off. I just thought I could deal with it, but I don't think I'll ever quit coughing, and it's 80.4 degrees. The temperature's just going up and going up. I thought it would go down once the sun moved, but it's moved. I'm going to go open that window some more, get some more air in here. Okay. 55 degrees outside, windy, and 80 degrees in here, 80.5 degrees in here. Okay. And it's because the heater's running so much. All right. Unable to mount. Error mounting. Okay, same exact thing. Let's run that little command again. I forgot what the readout was in there. My finger, for some reason, I right click on my finger, just lets go by accident. All right, very big device. Oh, trying to use read capacity 16. Assuming drive cache write through. Attach SCSI disk. Ext4 FS SDE1 couldn't PDR because of unsupported optional features. Oh. Well, maybe it is, you know, I see that Fedora 14 has the Ext4 on it, so it supports that, but is that because, let me keep reading, I guess, but I'm thinking, is that because, you know, it's a newer version of Ext4? Okay, type 1400 audit, AVC denied, Unix, write, PID, com. Okay. And then it's just the same basic error over and over again with different numbers after it. I guess it kept trying. Oh, this one will do save output as, just like console. That I got to see which one this is. Oh, it's console. Okay, because it did the default file name as console. Text. Okay. So now I'll have that to read again if I need to. Okay. I'm going to go to the, well, let's go to, GParted again. Every little thing has to give a bunch of trouble, doesn't it? Jumping around from machine to machine, I'm using the wrong passwords. Okay. Let's get back over to dev SDE. Okay, now right click on it. Yeah, it's already mounted, it shows. Well, at least, okay, maybe it's not mounted, but you can't unmount it. Maybe it's like this because usually if it, you know, unmount, well, yeah, okay, it's not, you can't do anything with it. So if it was mounted, you'd be able to unmount it. And normally, if it's not mounted, it would say mount. So I guess that's because of the error that it's in that odd state. I just now realized what it's saying there. Not mounted, yeah. It's not mounted, okay. And I don't think, it said very large device, but I don't think that there's any problem with, you know, 8 terabyte drives working in Fedora 14. I don't believe so. Windows, yeah, you can run into all kinds of problems. You got to have the right version of Windows to use, you know, certain sizes of drives and stuff. It's just ridiculous. But And now back in my very first start with Fedora and Fedora 5, maybe it wouldn't have supported 8 terabyte drive. I don't know, but okay. So yeah, I tried to mount it. I think with the Disk app. I don't remember for sure. I've been going in circles. So let's open it up and see. But yeah, it says mount volume, check file system. Now, if I did any checking or anything, I'll do that with the newer versions, not these are the older versions. Partition type, unknown. That's weird that it says unknown and then Ext4. Oh, mount. Yeah, I tried this before and I just got that very same error. Okay. Dang it. Disk is healthy. That's one good thing about this. It tells you all these sort of things. You can run a test. You can benchmark it. I never do that because those numbers, you know, they're just, to me, like they're arbitrary numbers. They're just like, okay, this is number, you know, 1,000 and something or whatever. And the other, when you use a benchmarking app, then you can at least compare it to other machines or drives of the same basic, you know, similar type or whatever. But I am starting to be, now see models. Okay, model Seagate expansion disk. Shouldn't it say disk? Huh. Power down the drive so it can be removed. It's not mounted, so I wouldn't see why. But let's do that. I haven't seen that before. Let's see if it can happen. Well, yeah. Took it out of there. Okay, now that's what I was fixing to do anyways. Take it out, you know, take it out. So I'll leave that running. And go ahead and I guess I'll get it and put it back in my machine again. I'm afraid that I am not going to be able to use Ext4 on it. What I'm afraid of is that I'm going to have to go back to NTFS, which I really don't like, and I'm a little worried about being able to get it back to its factory state. I did make the Clonezilla backup images, but well, I did it twice because the first time I tried to do both partitions and the bigger partition failed and this first one succeeded, so I did it again and only did the smaller one because I thought, well, all I really need is the files off of there because it didn't have anything special about it, you know. Just NTFS with the files on there that made it boot up, be recognized. I think I got it plugged in already. Yeah, I've got, what do I have? Yeah, I hear it. I've got, oh, that's my keyboard and mouse from my KVM switch, and then I think there's one more. There's two empty ports, I think. There's actually, I think there's 2 rows of ports back there. It's nice to have all those ports, but with them in the back where you can't get to them, it's no fun. But let's go to the desktop now and see what we got. Yeah, we mounted back up just fine, no problem. So I didn't have to do anything in SC Linux. Well, again, this is the machine I formatted it on. I actually meant to look in SC Linux and see if there was, well, it didn't tell me. That's a complicated program. It didn't tell me anything like run this, and I didn't get an SC Linux alert. If it was an SC Linux, yeah, if it was an SC Linux, I think of those sorry, I had double mics. I think of the AZVC denials as being SC Linux, being blocked by SC Linux, but it may not be like I said a while ago. Usually you'll see that in an SC Linux error. I do know that much. And that will go back to the file manager. Oh, let's open up these here. Let's see. And usually it'll tell you commands. I mean, SE Linux will pop up and then tell you commands to run to fix if you want to allow this and all that stuff. So I don't think it's SE Linux on Fedora 14. I think maybe it really doesn't support the newer. Oh, it hadn't finished yet. There we go. Now you can see the little images that I copied over there. Oh, I just went ahead and closed that file browser. Okay. I was starting to say I'd run the file system checker in GParted, but actually, it's not, I have discovered this over the years. It's never been a good idea to do it unless you have something already broken, because sometimes it's not broken, it'll break it for some reason, or at least it did on FAT32 drives. But it'll format FAT32 drives just fine with no problems. But there it is with its whole name. There's no flags on it. 7.22 terabyte in here. Unused 7.22. Used 59. Used 59.77 gigabyte. No, they're not used. It's just not there. That's weird. Why does it read like that? Okay. Anyway, oh, there's keys. What's the keys mean? Information. That makes me think maybe it's locked somehow. Little icon that's keys. Like only allowed to be used on this machine. That's what I keep wondering. Is it only allowed to be mounted and unmounted and written to on this machine? And that is not how I want it. Even though I did change the file permissions, and well, when I changed the file permissions, it allowed me to write as Don, but let's look at the flags. Maybe the flags have something to do with it. Nope. Let's see. Yeah, there's not anything that would have to do with, just a normal drive. So the MSFT data, that was why the NTFS partitions were labeled over here to the far right. I didn't notice that yesterday. Oh, and let's see, it was MSFT data. Oh, MSFT. The main one was MSFT-TRES, and the hidden one was, no, it's the other way around. The hidden one was MSFT-TRES, and the other one was MSFT data. But yeah, see, no, there's no like backup drive or anything like that. Nothing that I would want to put on this, and I'd probably just jack it up even more. There's nothing that's for the flags. Now, see, like if you need a boot drive and it won't boot and everything seems right except for it won't boot, I'll go back to the flags. Go in there and click on the boot, and then it'll be a boot drive, and then it'll be fine. That's one last thing you got to do. If it doesn't get done automatically by, usually when I do something like build a boot drive, I use a program to like Fedora Media Writer now when I'm doing Fedora, or Unet Bootin, used to use that a lot, and it will mark the drive as bootable, your USB stick or SD card or whatever. But and I have done hard drives and use them as bootable, live bootable systems too. But a lot of time, anyway, you want to make sure it's marked as bootable or if it's not booting. But this is not a boot drive, so I mean it wouldn't hurt anything necessarily, but it wouldn't help anything. Let's see. I do wonder why that has keys on there. That usually means something's locked. Let's see. Let's look in temp data rescue. I didn't know that was in there. Temp data rescue in GParted. I didn't know it had anything like that in it. Name partition, manage flags, name partition. Seagate expansion drive. That's the way I wanted it. Cancel. I guess that stuck through. I think that came from the hardware. That's what I think happened. I think it happened when I reformatted it the second time. First time I put it in there, but yeah, there's not really anything else in there to do that I can see to like make it world readable and writable. That's what it needs to be, the whole drive, or the whole, well, yeah, the whole drive, because it might be, I was thinking, you know, and yeah, in times, I think in other, yeah, like on those backup drives on the Fedora 14 system, seems like maybe what I ended up doing is putting everything in, nothing on the root of the drive, the root folder, but make folders for everything, and then make sure the permissions were okay, you know, to read and write and everything. That's how maybe how I got that all working. But, and I don't know that that would help or hurt in this case right now, but let's go ahead and keep trying to see if I see anything. Okay. There's a lot less features in this newer version of Gnome Disks than there was in the older one, unless this is not the same program. But I think it is. But that other program had a lot of stuff. Look at this. If you could remember what all the different things at the top and the things you could do, none of that's in here. Okay. Ext4 version 1.0, which doesn't sound very, I guess the previous versions were, you know, 0 point whatever. And the only thing you can do here is format, edit. Okay, now there's some things in there that you can do. Depending on the permissions in the drive, you know, what you can do in here. Edit, resize, check, repair. It's not broken, so I'm not going to do any of that. You can do a check and repair in GParted too. I didn't mention it, but you can. Edit mount options. Oh. Create partition image, restore benchmark partition. Let's see if we can edit mount options. Okay. User session defaults on. Mount at file system startup. Oh, this may be what I'm hoping to find here. Show in user interface, require user session defaults. Okay. Well, let's make a screenshot of that. I like to do that for quick reference later. Okay, turn it off. Now we can change things. Okay. Mount on startup. Show you in user interface. Require additional authorization. Oh. Never seen this before. Well, never done this exact thing before, so. Oh yeah, it says no auto, and then right down here, that's the etc fstab. Well, these are, yeah, etc. See there, etc fstab file. That's where this is going. This is editing the etc fstab file, but it's doing it for you. This is great. So now the no auto is gone. So now it should auto mount. Cool. Now that's an improvement. All right, mount point. I'm not changing that. Identify as Seagate expansion disk. I don't know why. See what else is in there. Seagate expansion disk. Seagate so-and-so. And that would be even harder, all those numbers and stuff. At least this way you know what it is. Seagate X20 expansion, X20 drive. I'm going to leave it like the default was. File system type auto. You know, it kept saying it didn't know what kind of file system it was. Now, I remember sometimes auto's fine. Sometimes you need to put in there what the file system is. In fstab file, matches partition of the device with the given vital product data. I'm going to change that to Ext4. I guess I'll type it just like that, I guess. I know, probably shouldn't use caps in there. But I won't put a space in there. That was the thing I was wondering about. I don't think it would matter to be fstab if it well, it could matter, but I don't. If it would matter, it would probably need to be not capital. So now here's something I just realized. Wait a minute. This is for this. This is etc fstab. This is not going to change anything on the drive. What are you thinking, Don? So I have no problem on this system. And that might make it look for the drive. It's going to make it look for the drive, and if it's not there, it's going to squawk. So Don, don't do that. So hit cancel. Dang it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it mounting on this system. If it's plugged in, it works, and if it's not, it doesn't squawk and look for it. I'm starting to have some memories of all my days of having to manually do that stuff. So let me go back and look in there. Mount options. Okay, yeah, it's back like it was. Okay. All right, yeah. Now, if this program could do that in Fedora 14, might be able to fix it. Or I could manually edit fstab. It's just that I haven't done that in so long. It's hard to get back your mind back to understanding that fstab file and getting it working right. But if that's all I need to do, then I won't be having to I mean, it's actually quick to reformat the drive, but I do not want NTFS really bad because I've had it break at least 4 times already on the other drive. It's just so undependable. So, but I do want it to work in other file systems. While I've got this in here, let me see. I just remembered I only have one Windows system at all right now, and that would be this XP virtual machine. So let's see if problem is well, we'll see. Problem is I don't know if I can even see USB drives in there. I was having trouble with that. I think there's yeah, I had this set up to automatically mount my easy to boot drive and I have a shared folder in there. I should just take that out now because I've reformatted that thing since now. I left it in there because if it's plugged in, it worked, and you didn't have to set it up every time. Now that's the kind of thing I was talking about happening. That's exactly what my system would have happened if I would have set that etc fstab file like I was fixing to do. Just like that. I'd be looking for a drive that's not there. Only it might have been more of a problem. Yeah, I don't know. I remember having it was a pain. It bugged me always getting those errors every time you boot up. I remember that. But yeah, it's not a shared drive though. So I think what it is I shared all the other drives I always use, and I can get to them. But Avast hasn't updated in a while. Okay, now let's go to my computer so we can see the drives. Yeah, the easy to boot SD card and the USB adapter is what that was squawking about. And I need to just take that out of the shared folders, but you got to be in the setup of VirtualBox to do that. And so what we do have is, like there's 2 of them. Oh, VirtualBox. Now, where VirtualBox? Okay. It's all small. I can't see it. But there's the Seagate expansion drive, which is the 5 terabyte drive, my backup drive. Okay, and then that is probably one of those is going to be the one that's not accessible. So I need to take it out of there, and then E, it's not accessible either. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't see. What I used to have to do to get the way I used to get USB drives to mount and unmount in the XP virtual machine was to go up here and go to USB, and then you would see a drive, and you would say, you know, we'll connect to it, I guess. I don't remember what it said. But it doesn't see any, and I have not been able to get it to see any since I got Fedora 28. Now, I can add devices and everything else all day long, and it won't make any difference. I've tried to do that. But what I did figure out is going and sharing the device in the program. I don't think I can do that while it's running. Storage, let's see. Oh, there it is, shared folders. Yeah, so I'm not going to do it while it's running. I don't think it'd be a good idea. Well, let's try it and see. It should tell me, I'll hope, if I'm making a mistake. Yeah, easy to boot. Oh, and I don't know what this other one is. It might have been another USB drive or something. But they both weren't working. Let's see, can I remove it? Well, I was able to remove it. Okay. Can I add one? Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Read only. Other. Let's see. Should be able to. There we go. There it is. Let's see if we can do it. Read only, auto mount, make permanent. I'll just do it like that because I don't want it permanent right now anyway. I may reformat it and it may have a different name. Well, let's see if that works. No, it's open. I don't know that I've ever tried it while, you know, this XP was running. It still sees the easy to boot in there. Let's see, can we refresh? It still sees it. Yeah, I think I'd have to shut it down. I don't see the one I just added, so I have to shut it down and restart XP here. So I'll just shut it down first. Make sure that those settings in VirtualBox get saved. It's probably trying to update Avast and stuff, but I'm not going to sit there and wait on that. Yeah, it's going to be 2019 in a few more days, a week or so. This is the 20th, so a little over, what is it? It's about a week and a few days. So it's somewhere up in 2019 is when I quit getting updates in this. What? You don't get updates? Yes, you do get updates in XP if you know how to set it up. Just security updates. And I don't know that I ever made a video on how to do it, but I've mentioned it, explained it a few times. So that's not the subject of today. But I still wouldn't surf the internet with it or anything. Okay, let's see. Now let's go and look at the settings one more time before I start it back up. Boots up pretty good. Shared folders. Yeah, it went away. Okay, so I need to add it again. I guess I should have told it to be permanent. I guess it wouldn't hurt. Let's see, read only, no. Auto mount. I'm going to do auto mount. So that maybe it would. If I'd have done auto mount, it might have worked a minute ago. I just thought of that. Okay, I don't know where I didn't see the thing to make it permanent like I did a while ago. Oh well, that's not my goal right now anyway. So if it can read, I don't know if I have that program in here. XP can't, and when or 7 or any of them can't read Ext4 file systems. As a matter of fact, it will pop up a message saying, "Oh, this drive is not." Sometimes it'll say it needs fixing. Do you want to fix it? Or sometimes it'll say it's not formatted. Do you want to format it? Don't do that. You will lose everything on your drive. It'll format it all right. Try to fix it. Well, it'll try to fix it as a Windows drive. It'll run, I guess, check disk on it and break it. So, and those messages are telling you about your mouse and everything. So, it's called Ext2FS. See if I see it on the desktop. I don't know if I have it on here. May not, because I really didn't ever need it. I wasn't trying to share Ext drives. I was only sharing FAT32 or NTFS drives on here. So let's see. Some reason I can read the folder list. Yeah, there it is. A long bunch of numbers, and there it is. Okay. So I think the whole thing is Fedora 14 is not automatically setting up etcfs tab for this drive. So I think maybe I'm going to have to do that if I want to use it in there, and I do. So now what I'm wondering is, let's see, we'll open up an image and just look at it. No preview available. Well, I wanted to see the image. Fax viewer thinks it's, oh, it doesn't know how to deal with ping. Probably if I right click, maybe I can open it. The default program was the wrong thing. Paint might be able to do it. I don't know, maybe not. Ping wasn't out when Paint was written. I don't know. I have. Guess I should have opened. I think I have Irfan View on there. I'm pretty sure it'll do it. Well, did it work? Yep, it worked. Okay. Can't see the next file automatically, but it worked. No changes saved. Okay, now what I'm wondering is, can I write a file to it? I don't want a whole bunch of files. I just want one. So there's a PDF out of that. Can we do a send to and see that drive? Let's try it. Come on. Come on. Desktop. Okay, we can't. Okay, so we'll do a copy. And then we'll go to our drive and we'll paste. Does not support long file names. Please enter a name. Yes, it does support long file names. XP thinks it don't. Well, that's a side note, so we won't worry about that. Now, let's see if I got anything to open that with. Firefox. Well, I guess we'll open it with Firefox. That'll work. I guess I don't have a PDF viewer on there. I just really have it set up for specific tasks that I don't have any Linux programs to do, mostly. I get a little install happy, though. There's some extra stuff on there. I didn't have a big, what did I have? I originally made it 10 gigabytes. I think it's bigger now. Let's see. Let's see that. See if I can see that. I resized it and made it bigger because I had got it filled up, and it wasn't getting updates because it was no more room on it. No, it's still 9.98 gigabyte, free space 1.27 gigabyte. I resized it, but it showed up and then didn't show up. Showed up and then didn't show up. So XP sees that as a 6.85 terabyte drive. It can't read anything bigger than that, I guess. And then the other one, oh, that's free space. Oh, it sees it. 7.21 terabytes, 4.54 terabytes. And every file manager sees these things as a little bit different. So, yeah, even XP can see its size and everything. That's cool. All right. I was waiting for that file to open up. Still hasn't opened up Firefox yet, I guess. It's not real fast running XP inside of even this machine. It will do it, but it's not real fast. It's the only machine I've had that could really do it and you'd be able to work. See the hourglass and pointer kind of working away. Especially something like Firefox, you know, a heavy hitter there, heavy user. There it goes. It's updating. That's why it was taking longer. It was installing an update. I guess I have it set to auto update like I do in Linux, which makes good sense in any system because actually I don't have that on the Fedora 28 because it's all new enough that I'm letting the Fedora system update it. Well, what I've usually end up doing is using that. Once I get a system the way I want it, I use it past till it's past EOL, end of life, and then I set up Firefox, kind of like portable. I call it standalone because it's not meant to be moved around, but standalone version, kind of like portable. And then I set it to update itself, and that's how I was able to use that and Thunderbird, my two main programs that needed updated. I was able to use Fedora 14 for several years, all the way up till Fedora 23, until finally Firefox quit updating. What happened? Firefox is not there. I'm going to close the file browser so that it won't have an extra thing to do. Let's see. Surely I... I hit a key on the keyboard over, didn't do anything with my mic. I slid it over away from me to try to I actually think that I'm coughing more, not just because I don't feel so hot now, even though it's still 80.2 degrees in here, but I got fresh air coming in. But I think there's allergy stuff in the air today. Probably making me do a little worse than I would. I have been lately with the windows shut when it was cold. Come on, Firefox. The system's not hung up, but Firefox is just not opening up. I don't know if I have a... Actually, VLC Media Player will show images. But what I use on here, among a few things, it's still trying to open. I better not give it anything else to do. It's still trying to open it. Oh, there's my Phone Explorer. That's the app I used to use to sync my phones and stuff and to remote control them. But I think I took the server app off the phones because I needed space. And it used to work pretty good. And the one thing I forgot to mention about this particular app, this is the desktop client for Windows. It will you can not only connect through a Wi-Fi to the phone, but you can also use the USB cable. But you have to turn on developer mode, put the phone in developer mode, which is, I don't like to leave it like that, so I was always turning it on and off. Then after a while, it got like it was buggy. It didn't work and not work. Especially with the USB cable, and I got tired of messing with it, so I quit. I didn't take it off of here in case I wanted to use it, but I took it off the phones because I was running out of space on the phones. But yeah, ATC Booster Stack, that's a little program I used to program my Texas Instruments MSP430 boards that I had. Things like that, RM Prep USBs, only Windows, and it's for building multi-boot systems, and Guru Duplicate File Finder. And I was trying to show the one I like the best. Where is it? It's something with an A. AnyTwin. I was actually thinking about running that on my folders where my phone backups are, since I'm afraid I've got duplicates in there now from when I started writing it back up and letting it rename the files, and then it hung up yesterday or day before. I thought after I get done backing up, I'll run AnyTwin from here on my phones. Well, only if I can, on my phone backups, which I can do because I can get to the 5 terabyte backup drive. There's Firefox. Yeah, I can do that. And that's one of the main things that I keep a Windows system around for, is for AnyTwin. It's my favorite duplicate file finder. Now that I have bigger backup drives, I haven't worried about it as much. But it's easy to get turned around and mixed up about when you run out of space on a drive and you have to use another drive, then you end up with duplicate backups. I got a lot of duplicates on my my Red Black BioStar, my Fedora 14 system. And during the process of backing everything up to that one drive, I should get rid of some of that. Well, there'll be different folders probably. But I don't know if I'd try. I mean, to try to run AnyTwin on like 4 or 5 terabytes of data or more. I've got about 2 terabytes of data on the 4.5 terabyte drive now. So that would take like a week, I think. So I wouldn't even try that because I couldn't use my system. But because this is, if I had maybe a laptop I could stick in the corner and plug the drive into it, I could do that, but then I couldn't back up during that whole time. So it gets to where I just as long as you can afford to get bigger drives once in a while, just do that. A few duplicates won't hurt. It looks like you haven't started Firefox in a while. Do you want to clean it up? No, I don't think so. I just wanted to see if that file would open up. There it is. Finally, it's opening up. Oh yeah, that's not an image. That's a PDF. I was thinking of another image viewer. VLC wouldn't view a PDF. It'll view PNGs and JPEGs. I know that, and maybe some other images. Now, for some reason, I had to hurry up, and while it's still trying to load, I clicked to make it full screen. So now now it gave it another thing to do. But it did work. I was able to copy that this PDF that taken all day to load. I was able to copy it from installation successful of AdBlock Plus. It is installing updates for the add-ons. No wonder it's taking so long. It was updating Firefox, installing add-on updates. This is doing everything because I haven't been in here in a month or two. There it is. Yeah, that was the Anarin. Oh, that's the TI stuff, I think. Yeah, Error Booster Stack, or I think is what it's called, Error Booster Stack. It's the second time I've clicked that. I just don't like things to not be full screen. It bugs me, so I keep trying to make it full screen. It doesn't matter in a hill of beans right now. I don't even need to see the whole document. I see that it's there. So, I'm going to get out of here so that I won't keep clicking on stuff. The drive works in XP. I was able to write a file. Hold on. How was I able to write a file to Ext4? Did I just write a file to Ext4 in Windows XP without even using a special program? I think I've turned around today. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, don't try to make that big again. It's still not through loading. I should have known that this is like a giant page 1 of 8. It's a giant PDF. But anyway, I wrote that file. Well, I'm going to get me another cold pill. I think eventually that'll help. I haven't had one since early this morning. I haven't been having to have, but maybe one a day lately. But I haven't had the windows open either. Well, actually, I take that back. I've had them cracked, like 1/4 inch to 2 inches every day, every night lately, because I've been getting hot because of the heater. So I don't know if because the weather got sunny and something changed and allergies got worse or what. Yeah, we've been having rain and drizzle a lot, and so I guess now that everything's drying out, all that stuff that grew, all those things that the rain made grow, I'm talking about like little, not so much grass, and I don't think any of that's growing, but I haven't really looked out to see. But anyway, small little things, what am I trying to say, mold, all those sorts of things are growing. Okay, so I don't care if that is, no, it's not going to respond. I hate it when it does that. There it goes. Okay, so I'm trying to go back through and see. Yeah, maybe I have that program installed and set to automatically work, because I've never seen XP be able to write to an Ext4 drive unless this newer version of Ext4 somehow actually supports being written to by Windows. Well, oh, it's because it's a shared, okay, when you share folders, this is what it is. It's not mounted directly in the normal way into XP. It's a shared folder in VirtualBox, and the way VirtualBox does that is share it as a network drive. So that way you can do it. Now, if I had this in an XP machine, I would have to use that Ext4 application. I was trying to think of how I could, easy way I could see if I even have that on here. Ext2 is what it's called. Actually, it was made back when Ext2 was the file system, the Linux, main Linux file system. I don't think I have a desktop search for this one here because it's used too many resources. ECU flash. I wanted to learn to use that kind of stuff. Actually, I think you could use that. That's for, car computers, but I think you might be able to use that to flash little developer boards too, really. RTC Booster Stack, that's the one I used. Easy to boot. That's the one I used to build my easy to boot system that I actually ended up taking off of that SD card and reformatting it because it wasn't. I decided that SD card was getting too old and been written too many times. It was too fragmented and it's why it wasn't working right. And that's another one by the same guy, RM USB, that's a really complicated, but it's a good multi-boot builder or single. My Phone Explorer, Duke Guru, Oracle VirtualBox. I've got that on there. Maybe, I don't know why. Maybe so I could boot a little, like, test something I built with one of those. Mozilla Crash Reporter. Quit Firefox. That's all I want. I got tired of messing with you, Firefox. It's just because there's, this system, I could only give it, I only have 256 megabyte of video memory. I have 4 gig of RAM and a quad-core processor on the Lenovo i5 here that I'm running this in. But I've only given it what it barely needed to run XP. Oddly enough, well, XP, when I first got XP, I think I had 256 megabyte of RAM. I didn't even have 512. And it was okay. But that was on the actual hardware. And it was a Pentium 3. And it was a bit slow on a Pentium 3. Then I got 512 megabyte of RAM. And then it was really fast, to me back then. And then later when I got my Pentium 4, that was one of the fastest machines out when I got it. And I got my Pentium 4, and I don't know, I think I had 512 megabyte around at first. I guess I got a gig after a while, but and then a little bit here and a little bit there. But it was fast. That was a fast machine. I have never had a machine as fast as that was with XP. Well, it depends. Excuse me. Depends on what operating system I'm running on it. But if I'm running my daily using operating system, and I tend to install too much stuff, that'll slow them down after a while. Well, the thing is, I had a 512 megabyte video card in there too. So, and that's what Mom's still has in hers, which is fine for what she does. But I've only got 256 megabyte of onboard memory on the Lenovo i5. It's not meant to be what I'm using it for. It's supposed to be an enterprise, a desktop machine for office work, not for watching videos and stuff. So luckily, OBS Studio doesn't use all that video memory it's just using RAM and processor to transcode and serve up these videos, to YouTube, or otherwise I couldn't be doing what I'm doing with it. I didn't know for sure. I just tried it and see if it would work, and it worked. While I'm jabbering, I'm looking for, I forgot what I was looking for. I was just looking to see what's in there, but I was looking for Ext2FS. But I don't think, there's nothing over here running. I remember it used to put an icon down here when it was running. And I thought yeah, there was a right-click menu where you could say, that's why I did that a while ago, right-click and say open with Ext2FS. So I don't believe it's installed. But it doesn't need to be in this virtual system. I realize that now. So my test is not a good test. It's not showing anything. This is working because those USB drives are mounted as shared network drives. Yeah, that's how it does it. I remember that. I took a lot of studying to learn that. Okay. It doesn't show it that way in the setup anymore. It doesn't tell you that. So I actually thought maybe they'd changed how they were doing it, but I don't think so. Especially now that I sat here and looked through and realized that it just wrote to an Ext4 drive. So, I have a list of things to do, and the first one, instead of, I don't even get past it in a day. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 days on the first thing on my list. And when I start out, I think, oh, maybe I can get these 2 or 3 things done today, So I still have to find out if I'm going to be able to. That's kind of a deal breaker, I think, for using the Ext4 on that drive. If I can't write to it on my Fedora 14 system, I don't care that much. Well, I mean, I can do it here. Obviously, I can do it here in the virtual machine, but I don't care if I can't do it even if I couldn't do it in a WinXP machine. Well, I'm not planning on using them anymore, really. Maybe I'll keep one going one way or the other, either virtual machine or on that old laptop or something, just for those things that you can't do any other way, just for the fun of it. But I keep thinking, well, I thought, well, I guess I'll have to build another Windows 7 system, but it's getting pretty old. But I think I'll hang out and use it as long as I can, because Windows 10, I can always, just without even trying, I see articles about all the problems people have with it. And then just the other day, my brother was having trouble with, he has a bunch of USB sticks, and he had a brand new one, he popped it in there. And he has Fedora, well, he's got Fedora 29, it's dual boot on his laptop. And Fedora 29 read it just fine, but Windows 10 wouldn't. And we tried to fix it and make it work. And I think I figured it out, but I haven't found out if he wanted to mess with it later, so I don't know if he ever did. But it's a common problem. Well, I did some research and I found out it's a common problem. And it's just a FAT32, a USB stick formatted as FAT32. So, and there's nothing wrong with it. We confirmed that. So, and I had read I just here and there I'll see things on my my home page that'll talk about different. I'll just open it up because I've lost my track of what I'm going to do. Oh, okay. I think I'm going to have to take a break. That's what I'm going to have to do. Maybe I can take a break and maybe I'll quit draining and coughing so much. But I'm going to have to, what I guess I'm going to have to do is plug it back into the Fedora 14 system, see if I can go into fstab and set it up to mount that drive. And hopefully then, like, when from what I remember, you have to edit your fstab file and then reboot for it to take effect, what you've done. So that'll show me whether or not, though, it'll mount it on boot, and then if it mounts and I can write to it, then I'll start doing those backups. Then I'm going to get into Lucky Backup and set up some profiles to back up my drives. That's what I plan. And then let it run for however long it needs to run, a day to 3 days to hopefully not a week, while I'm working on other things. Because it's running 24/7 anyway right now. It's my server right now, so my web server. You didn't just do that. Okay, this is what I was talking about. This is where I have my little home page set up, and it's got little blocks of things that I find, that's how I find things without even looking for them. It'll maybe pop up something in one of these news things here that are, Linux Today, Hackaday, and what's this? Gizmos Freeware. That's where I'll see stuff about Windows is in that one. So that's what I was how I see stuff without, you know, even knowing how it gets on my radar without me even looking for it. Okay. Yeah, I need a break now, so I'm not going to go try to plug it into the other machine again. Getting tired of doing that. I'm going to admit that this is not fun anymore. But I think I've figured out what I need to do, and hopefully won't be, you know, hopefully it'll work out okay, because if Ext4, the very, very common, you know, file system used by Linux, doesn't mount up in Fedora 14, I can't see BTRFS or any of those others mounting up automatically either. So, yeah, I think I'll go ahead and try to edit my etc fstab file. Oh, I can look in this one here. Yeah, I'll save a backup copy of this one, because that will tell me probably exactly every command I need for that drive. And I'll copy and paste it in there. Yeah. But I can't do it now. I got to have a break. But that's what I'll do. Okay. I'm going to go and come back after a while.